Welcome back.
Hi, America.
Hello, America. Welcome to Angel and the Wiz. Since we have seen you last, this girl has been all the way to Hawaii and done all kinds. She's going to probably talk for the next two shows.
No.
But,
I told you about it.
true.
You did.
Yes, we did. In your
Okay.
absence, I did I did one thing technically, and we have something brand new starting this week. On November 16th, 1974, I did the first satire of Julia Child called Julia Tensil, Julia Tensil, Crocked Cook. Okay, and over the next 6 weeks, we're going to run clips of it at the end of the show.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So, and it's
I'll
really
have to
cute
tell
and
my
it's
daddy
really
to watch
funny.
the show because he likes Julia Child.
Oh well, he'll get a kick out of this. This
likes
girl did a great job.
Julia Child and the Swedish Chef.
But you want to keep in mind that this was also done 37 years ago, 38
Wow.
years ago, 74.
He likes that stuff.
And it was done, it was very simple and and everything else, but black and white. But I still have the tape. And the other thing that we did, and then we'll go to Hawaii, is we now have the complete Susie Blunderful at Angel and the Wiz.
Very cool. You put it all together?
I put it all together,
Cool.
so now you can watch the whole thing. And
You
then
must have
after,
been really bored when I was gone.
no, but I just got the urge,
Okay.
And when the Crocked Cook is done, we'll do the same thing. We'll put it up as a complete show.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I had to cut out a couple of the commercial breaks.
Of course.
I put a censored card up, but I didn't. So, Princess
Yes,
Angel, you have a
honey.
lot to tell us about. So, where do we begin?
Well, I went to Hawaii. I went to Maui. As you guys know, my parents were renewing their wedding vows. They were married on August 13th.
Uh-huh.
At 9 a.m. or no, at 2 p.m. was when the wedding was, but we did the ceremony August 13th at 9 a.m. on a
Okay.
beach. And my mom wanted her daughters and their significant others there, so we were there. And,
Right.
so my boyfriend and I flew out about a week earlier,
Oh, cool.
just so we could have a vacation.
Yeah, have some time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have an opportunity. First
Pardon
of
me.
all, flying from here to Hawaii is like 15 hours, 16 hours.
Wow.
We left the plane left at 8 a.m. on a Sunday.
Right.
8 a.m. Florida time.
Right.
Eastern time. And we arrived at 1:30 p.m. Hawaiian time.
Right.
So it was a long flight.
Right.
Very long flight. I didn't want to fly again. And then on the way back, we left on a Tuesday at like 1:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
And we landed at that was Hawaii time, and then Eastern time we landed on Wednesday at 12:30.
Right.
Yeah, so we lost a whole day
Wow.
flying. Yeah, so that was that was the second worst part of the trip was the flight.
Now what happens? So you 1 second. Yes. We're taping. Okay. You want to pass on that? Okay. I love you a lot. Bye, honey.
Oh, to be loved.
To be loved. Oh, yeah, like you don't know about me. Okay. So now you left. What time in the morning?
We left for what? For
When you left from here to go to where was the first stop? San Francisco, California, Los Angeles. Okay.
From here to LA.
Okay.
It was 5 hours.
Okay, and you started what time
4
in the morning?
hours. We left at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. 8 a.m. to LA.
to LA.
Okay, now
And
so
then-
that was morning. You'd be normally up then. So that's
right.
Did you have like lunch or something on the plane?
No. Well, no, we could have bought lunch, but we were cheap. But we had something to eat at the airport. And I
Okay,
don't
so
fly
you're okay.
well. I get a little motion sickness.
Okay.
And I know flying into LA when you're going from east to west,
Right.
there's it's like mountains and then there's LA.
Right.
And so the descent is pretty quick. Like they descend, and then they cut over the mountains, and then
Go
it's,
right down.
And then they go right down. Right. But then it's bumpy because you got
Right.
all that upwind going.
Sure.
And I was like,
I
I
know.
said,
I know what you
and
mean.
then we flew LA to Maui, which is another 4
Now,
hours.
how long did you have to wait between flights?
We had about 2 hours.
Oh, so that's
About 2 hours, and that was
that's not too
generous.
bad, right?
no, it was enough time to find a new gate, get a quick snack, and
Right.
then we were boarding. So-
Okay. So with none of these.
And then landing into Maui was horrible
Really?
because they have the trade winds, and you
Okay.
have to and there's nothing to block it. There's no land. It's
Right.
just ocean, so the wind is just whipping through, and so I thought LA was rough, but flying into Maui was the worst. You're like, I was ready to just die.
No, so
Death could have been better than that.
You left at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's like, okay. You went to LA. What time did you leave LA to go to Hawaii?
Hawaii is 6 hours behind Eastern time.
Okay.
So it was 1 a.m. Hawaii time when we left Florida.
1 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Of the preceding day, or the.
Well, no, we left on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m.
Right.
And so 6 hours behind that, I'm sorry, that would be 2 a.m. So that was 2 a.m. Hawaii time was when we left.
Okay.
And we landed at 1:30
afternoon in Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
So now at any point in there do you sleep? Do you fall asleep?
You try to. You're on a plane.
Right, stuff.
Yeah, you're on a plane.
Excuse me.
You could take sleeping pills. I almost took some.
Right. Well, okay, so incident free except for the descent into LA.
Well, that was okay. Yeah.
Okay, you're in LA. You didn't have to worry about.
And then we get on the plane. We go to Maui.
Strange people out there. They were at the airport. You stayed at the airport. You didn't have to worry about the nutcases out in LA. Okay, good.
There is some in the airport though too.
Oh really? Really? Yeah. Well, any place that has Bill Maher.
Anyway, so we went to we fly into Maui, and then we had to rent a car, and then we had to drive. Interesting thing about Maui, small island.
Right.
It's a very small island. If the roads were straight and no mountains, you can go from one side of the island to the other in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
But the roads are not straight.
Okay.
They're very curvy.
Right.
And oftentimes you're driving and there's mountain on one side and water on the other.
Right.
And
I can believe it. Yeah, because the roads would be on the outside of the island.
So
right?
to go about 10 miles could take you about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Just because you have to drive. The car rental companies were like, you have to drive the speed limit. And we're like, okay, yeah. And they're like, no. You have to drive the speed limit or you're going to go off the cliff.
Right.
We're like, oh,
so
okay.
That's easy, right. Okay.
Yeah. So we really we have to base our time on everything to, we would actually have to look on, I would Google a Google map, how long would it take for us because we'd have to drive the speed limit. And you can't really say, oh, it's 10 miles, so it's going to take 10 minutes, or, it could take 40 minutes. And then if there's traffic or an accident, it could take 3 or 4 hours.
I've heard that, and this might just be Hawaii, the Big Island, but I've heard that there's a lot of cement now in Hawaii. Like a lot of roads and a lot of cement, like population. I don't know what you'd call it.
I don't know how true that is. What I learned is that Oahu is the most populous island.
Okay.
They have over 1 million people living there, and they're smaller than Maui.
Oh.
Maui is like the middle-sized island. They have, I think the lady said that there's 200,000 or 300,000 people that live on the island.
Would that be the smallest population?
That would be, no. The Big Island has more land space, but has less of a population than Maui.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
I think because there's the active volcano.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a big island, but there's a very active volcano, so that you can't. There's certain parts you just can't inhabit. With Maui, there's 2 volcanoes on 2 mountains, which were once active. One is dormant. That's Haleakala. That's been dormant. The last eruption they said was 1790.
Right.
There's rumblings. They say the seismologists say that there's rumblings and stuff, so she could erupt, but it's not going to be based on the landscape. Her eruptions weren't even explosive. They were more just like
right.
And then there's the Io mountain or Io volcano. I don't know. That's the one that's on the west side of the island.
Right.
And they said that one's done. There's nothing left in it.
Okay.
So there's more. You see more inhabitants in that area than on Haleakala because you don't want to, live on a dormant volcano.
Sure.
That's what happened to Vesuvius, and then.
Right, and it came up.
Yeah.
It woke up.
And Pompeii is gone. You know? So.
Wow.
Anyway.
Okay, so you get there. Was it 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 in the afternoon?
We got there 1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you guys traveled alone. You were also there early, but was the whole family staying in the same hotel?
No, we all picked our own hotels because we had to pay for the trip.
Right.
So it was based on funding.
Right.
My mom, my sister, and my one sister and I stayed on the left side of the island, the west side of it. And we were all about 5 minutes away from each other. So it would take no more than 5 minutes for me to go from my hotel to my mom's or my hotel to my sister's.
Right.
my other sister was about an hour away from us.
Okay.
She was the one that was a pain in the butt.
Pardon me.
So we just rolled our eyes.
Now why? Just because of where she located?
Yeah, just and then we'd try and do something like, because my other sister and my mom and I, when we were all together, we would do, for example, one day we went ziplining.
Okay.
So we went ziplining.
Oh yeah, talked about that before. Yeah. So you did it.
We did it.
You're
it was
safe.
fun.
You're here, so we know it worked.
It was so much fun.
Right.
But so we all go ziplining, and then after ziplining, we're like, well, what do you guys want? You know, we all had to go and shower because you're up on the mountain. We're ziplining in some of the mountain areas, and the mountain, there's, you know, it's red dust, and so you look down and you're just covered. Oh. And you know, my white shoes were orange. They were about this color just because of the red dust that was all over them. So so we go to we're like, okay, we'll go shower, and I'm like, so we'll meet up in like an hour. Okay. You know, and we can go hang out or get drinks. And my other sister was like, well, we can't do that. And I'm like, well, whose fault is that, you idiot? We told you not to go stay over there. Right. You know, because it would take her an hour just to get to the hotel and then shower.
Well, why didn't she move once you guys were there?
Because she's...
Okay.
Anyway, so we landed in Maui. We went to...
You got a car? What kind of car did you get?
We got a Ford Escape.
Okay.
Not necessarily the car that we wanted.
Right.
And I wouldn't drive it at all. I just don't do well in larger vehicles.
Oh, it's
small and it's an SUV. It's like a compact SUV.
Sure.
So my boyfriend drove the entire time. He didn't like that, but I didn't care. I made him drive.
Hey, he's the guy. It's about his job.
Right, but that also meant he couldn't get drunk either. I can't drink. Well, you
drink
can
at the hotel.
I was like, you
go
can
upstairs.
Drink.
It's simple.
We had we stayed at a condo, so it was a condo resort. So some people actually lived there,
right?
You know, because the condos are all owned, and then so there wasn't like a bar, which was fine too. But we could walk next door to the hotel next door, which is owned or managed by the same property, and they had a bar, and so we just walk along the beach and
go have a couple of cocktails and go back. Sure.
We hiked into Haleakala, which is we drove up the side of the mountain because there's the path, and it was took us about an hour. Took us 2 hours from the time we left the room to the time we got up to the top, the peak, the summit, and then you got to hike down into some of it, which was really cool. Again, tons of red dust, but it was about 10 to 20 degrees cooler at the summit. Right. And the wind, I felt like when we finished...
This is a non-active.
This is the one that's dormant.
Okay, dormant.
Yeah.
But still there.
It was... Yeah, they say, based on the lava patterns, they're like...
Right.
It's not going to have an explosive eruption, so by the time that anybody finds it, like... they'd all be like, all right, time to go, because you could hear it coming, whatever they said. So anyway.
Oh, great.
Well, I'm not worried. I wasn't worried about it.
Okay.
So, the wind, though, it was, we got into the car, and I said, I feel like I was in Chicago shoveling snow, because the wind was so piercing, like my ears hurt.
This was inside?
This was in...
Or once you went over the crest and down?
No, this is, well, we went to the summit, and then we got out of the car, and you had to hike, and so when we were hiking down, just when you get out of the car, because you're on top, you're 10,000 feet, it's, you know.
Wow.
Anyway. The drive up there was kind of funny because you're just going up. They had railings, but you're just going up, and you curve and you curve and you curve, and you're just it's really mountain cliff. So, Adam wasn't too pleased about driving there. Like, I don't like it.
You gotta be careful. That's all.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to speed limit. You can go less.
We did go less. Yeah, he actually did less. And then driving down was a little bit easier because we knew...
You were also on the mountainside.
Well, we were on the mountainside, and we had seen the road coming up. Since when you experience the road coming up, it's a little bit easier to go down.
Sure.
And then we went... That was on a Wednesday. We went to the Maui Ocean Center on Tuesday.
And what is that?
It's a big aquarium.
Okay.
Which is really cool. It was nice. It was nice to see... you know, you get to see all the like tropical fish and the coral. They're rehabilitating coral there. So if one accidentally breaks off and it gets collected, you can bring it to the Ocean Center, and they're going to rehabilitate the coral. And then once it's better, they'll just bring it back to the ocean, which is really cool. Yeah. We did the road to Hana.
What's that?
Hana is this very small town that's like it's like the far east side of the island.
Where's the airport? In the middle and
in
left?
the middle.
Right? In the middle of the island.
Yeah, between the two. They kind of said that Maui's looks like a lady. She's got her head is on the west side of the island. Her neck is where the airport and the main road is.
Right.
And the east side is her body. She doesn't have any arms or legs.
Okay, gotcha.
And so Haleakala is on the east side. And on the far east side, there's this little town called Hana.
Okay.
And you travel through the rainforest. And that was, I think, the most surprising thing, because you have this idea that Hawaii is always lush and tropical.
Right.
But the way that, because the mountains are so tall, the northern side of the island is very tropical. But those are also the roads you can't really get on to unless you're local.
Okay.
Like rental cars won't let you take some of those northern roads because the roads are too rough or it's too dangerous.
Okay.
And then the southern side, and the
they tell you that?
and that's on a map. It's like, do not, if you take your car, you violate the contract. So if something happens to your car, you are,
don't call us.
Yeah, like you're on your own. And then so the north and the east side is very, the northeast side is very tropical. The southwest side is very dry,
right?
Because the rain and the wind hits the mountains, and then comes over the mountains, and it's done.
Right.
So that, I think, was the big shocker for me. Was, we were staying on a drier side, so you look at the mountain and you're expecting to see lush tropical rainforest, and you don't see it.
Right.
Because it's...
Well, the water drops off, just like with the Rockies. The reason we have the desert, because of the drops down there into the valley, and all of a sudden there's no water for the desert.
Yeah, that's exactly the same reason.
They need to cut a hole in the Rockies so the wind can get through.
Right, but that's the same reason. So to get to Hana, you have to go on the north side. And we did it, you could drive it, but it's really like a one-lane road. And there's a yellow line that says it's 2 lanes, but on today's cars, that's like 1.5 lanes.
Right,
so
gotcha.
Really, in the road, and it's mountain and ocean, so you're really... So we just took a bus tour, and it was a 12-hour tour, which was fine because you have to drive slow. But it took us...
12 is round trip.
Yeah, they picked us up at our hotel, our resort, and we drove to the north side of the north part of the island, past the airport, and then you literally drive completely around Haleakala, which is the giant volcano.
Okay.
So you do tropical rainforests and waterfalls and all kinds of stuff, and then you watch it get drier and drier as you move around the island, and then you get to see some of the artifacts that have been found. When they call it ancient Hawaii, people lived there on this dry area, and you could see these stone walls, and it was really, really cool. And then we stopped. The best part, at the end of the tour, we stopped at a winery, and you get pineapple wine, free samples, and then we bought a bottle of pineapple wine. It was so good.
Now, this trip to Hana, that's a little town?
Yeah, it's really.
Now, is there anything? Are there any amenities there? Is there anything there to do when you get there?
You can stay at a hotel. It's pretty expensive though, because it takes forever to get there, and they have to literally supply you with everything.
But do they have shops or
small?
Just a
little
little place.
Touristy things.
Okay, well, that's okay, but that's what you kind of expect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was that day.
Oh, and then that was a Thursday. On Friday, we went snorkeling.
Okay.
And that was... I thought the flight was bad.
Right.
That was worse for me.
Now, why was snorkeling bad?
I get motion sickness.
Okay.
It kind of... There's no consistency to my motion sickness.
They give you a mask, a snorkel, and fins?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't... That's great, but I still don't know how to swim, know? Okay. So I got a little floaty, and the thing for me with my motion sickness, though, is I could... my boyfriend will be driving, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't feel well and I need to drive, and he's like, you're not driving my car, and I'm like, unless you want you want lunch all over your car, I'm gonna drive, and he's like, okay. So but there's really... So
the motion sickness doesn't show up when you're driving?
When I drive, no.
Why?
Probably because I'm the one that's controlling the motion.
And also your hands are okay.
And some of it has to do with body temperature too. That's another thing, is if my body temperature increases too much, too fast, I don't regulate well.
Okay.
So then I get...
You mean if you're a passenger?
Passenger, yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of anywhere. If I'm sitting in a room and all of a sudden I feel the room get kind of hot and stuffy, and I sense it right away because my body doesn't regulate temperature well. Right. So then I'll start to feel... I'll just be like... someone's got to turn the AC on. I don't feel well. Anyway, so we're in.
Now we're at Friday now.
We're on Friday. We're snorkeling.
Okay.
We're on the boat. The ride out to one of our snorkeling locations, I was fine. I get in the water. I'm fine. I kind of swim out a little bit. I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, the trade winds start to pick up, and the water gets really choppy. And I have a pool noodle with me because I don't know how to swim. So
right.
I needed something that I could use to float.
Just sit on, right?
And so I'm bobbing with these. I mean, these waves were coming, and I'm like, oh, I started to feel sick in the water.
Was the water clear, or not?
Yes,
okay.
it's crystal clear blue. It's
okay,
amazing.
Okay.
But anyway, so I started to get sick in the water.
Okay.
And I was like, well, this is not good. So I went to go head to the boat. But now I'm like on my way back to the boat, fighting these waves.
Right.
And I'm watching the boat, and the boat is doing this. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's not going to end well either way. Like, I'm upchucking, and I'm either going to upchuck in the water, or I'm going to upchuck over the boat into the water. But
right.
either way, like, it's not going
right.
to end well. So I just bit the bullet and went onto the boat. And I didn't do well at all. Like, it felt good at first for me to be out of the water, but then the boat just started moving. And I think at that first stop, half of the people on the boat got sick.
Really?
And then they went to a second location. And as we were going to our second location where the waters were calmer, I started to get sicker, to the point where one of the crew members saw me and said, "You need to come back with me because you are not well." And I was like, "I'm not." And so they took me to a back area, which was in the shade, because we were out in the sun, so it was in the shade. They had me.
That probably helped.
It helped a lot, and then they gave me like these wristbands that were supposed to be like pressure points to help with the sickness. And anyway, so they, I was sick. So the second stop, my boyfriend went in the water, and I didn't go in, and then a lady gave me Dramamine, and she goes, "This is the less drowsy formula, you should take 2. And I only took 1, and that knocked me out for 2 hours. Yeah.
Out cold?
Yeah, I was out. Like, I would wake up to sounds of people, like, walking by me.
Right.
But I'm, like, curled up in the seat in my bikini with a towel wrapped around me, because my body, like I said, I don't regulate well.
Right.
So I was in the shade, and the wind was blowing, so I'm freezing, but I didn't want to put anything else on me, because I knew I'd warm up too fast.
Right.
And it was, I told Adam, I said, I love you, and I did the snorkeling thing for you, and I
right.
said, but would you be completely offended if I never snorkel with you again? So.
And, okay, now.
Is that I wanted to try and time it. So
no, you worked out just perfect. So we'll finish Friday next week, okay? Now, folks, this is from 1974. That's 38 years ago. I hope that you enjoy it. This is only part 1. It's going to be 6 parts over the next 6 weeks. It's called Julia Tensil. This skit that we ran as a half-hour show 2 weeks later was aired on Sonny and Cher. Sonny and Cher did a takeoff for the skit that we did. Nobody had ever done it before on Julia Child. This is lovingly, please understand. But this was also done a long time ago in a strange universe far, far away. And I hope that you enjoy it. And for us, it was just funny as could be. Oh, yes. Until we see you next time. Next week, we'll pick up Friday afternoon, or after Friday, after snorkeling.
Do something good every day and volunteer at your local animal shelter.
Julia Tensil, welcoming you to the Crocked Cook. I'm Julia Tensil, and I'm also the Crocked Cook. The Crocked Cook. Crocked Cook. I love it. We're going to be we're going to be preparing today bouillabaisse à la Parisienne. And we're going to show you what utensils you need, how to use them, and I guess some pots and pans too. Go first to our utensils. First one here. The bowie knife. Bowie knife is a wonderful knife for big cutting. Big cutting. You do big cutting like this. Bowie knife. The jackknife is for smaller cutting. Smaller cutting. We use this for smaller cutting. The bowie knife. No, that's the bowie knife. This is the jackknife. Forgot. Forgot. Now, we have the paring knife. The paring knife is for paring, of course. You can use it on pears and apples. Even though it's a paring knife, you can still use them. This is a paring knife. Get a close-up of the paring knife, please. Screwdriver. It's the next thing. It's for screwing around. I screw around. I don't admit it, but I do screw around. You have the gun. Gun, you don't usually see a gun in the kitchen, but I always carry a gun in my kitchen. Gun is for shooting. Gun is for shooting. A gun is for killing the meat when necessary. You have the hammer. Hammer, let's get a close-up on this hammer. We have a good hammer here today. Hammer is for beating. It's for beating. We have nails. I don't know what the nails are for. We have the saw, jacksaw, jagsaw. Jacksaw. It's for cutting meat, for cutting anything you want to cut. Pardon? Bones. It's good for bones, too. We have a pot here. Let's have a close-up on the pot. This is the pot. And this is a lid. You use it like that. Except you don't hold the pot like that. You hold the pot down. And you put the lid on it. Now, yes, now, we might need the bowie knife now. The bowie knife is here on the floor. It should never be on the floor. It should be always down on the board. The bowie knife. Going to get the bowie knife and we're going to get our meat. Get our meat, and we've got a good one here. Looks like we got a good one here. Sick thing. He doesn't need it though. It's fresh though. Fresh, and that's important. Fresh meat is probably the most important thing. Fresh meat. Oh, you want to see the fresh meat? Here it is. Disgusting. Sometimes I need an extra hand around here.